What's up, guys? I felt it was necessary to do an emergency video because we all saw it, the trade. First of all, Jeff, what the fuck? This is Saquon Barkley all over again. That's my worry. Oh, I said in the chat, I'll say it again. I don't think we should veto. I don't think it's collusion. I think that's the only time we should really veto a trade. But I don't think it's collusion. I think it's just a really dumb play by Jeff. You had all the opportunity to grab Trevor Lawrence. You could have spent a waiver on him. No one else claimed him. But instead, you decided to let Austin pick him up and then use that to his advantage. And props off to Austin. Like, I'm a little salty because, of course, I would like Bijan on my team. So, maybe that's where some of this backlash or whatever you want to call it is coming from. Of course, I would love Bijan on my team. I think he's such a good talent on an offense that loves to run the football and can't depend on their quarterback. And I think you've got a different case in the other side, but in terms of the Saints, I think they will rely a little bit more on the throwing. Derek Carr's been throwing like 40 times a game, I swear. And so I think that'll just continue. Although Alvin Kamara does get some of those, but getting off track. Good job to Austin, honestly. And I think that's a big kind of lesson for everyone to look at after the waivers, see what's out there, see who's been dropped, see who's been who wasn't picked up, and then you don't have to spend a waiver claim. But so hats off to Austin. That was good play on your part to pick up Trevor Lawrence and then turn it around and use that as some trade capital to gain a better running back. Now, I'll go over the trade a little bit more later. I do want to. I didn't do a very good job last night on versus all, so I'm going to share that with you guys, a full, including week 7. And I think there's some interesting things here. I don't exactly know what this means, but I just feel like it does give a little perspective. Like there are some people like Dre, who I feel is and Whitney, who are getting a little bit luckier on their matchups. Not having very many, they're not consistently putting up big points, but they are ahead of someone like Eddie. So I think statistically speaking, I would imagine things would start to become a little bit more even moving forward. And there's other factors, like I think Dre's team's been hit with a lot of injuries. And I think his team will start putting up more consistent points every week. It is interesting. Let's see here. Eddie with the most wins overall, and he is in 7th place. So I think that's kind of interesting. Statistically speaking, I would imagine he would hopefully, in his eyes, hopefully he's getting some easier matchups, and then it would be reflected in his record. But overall, I think we're all kind of where we should be. I mean, you've got the top scorers up here, not including Eddie. And that would be consistent on a versus all basis. And then you've got the kind of bottom producers down here on a wins overall record, and rightfully so. That's where we should be. But definitely interesting to look at, I think. And I'll go over this a little bit more. I'm trying to think of different segments. I'm not doing power rankings. I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. Every week I've done power rankings, I've lost. So I'm not doing power rankings this week. And if I win this week, I will continue not to do power rankings. But yeah, that's a versus all. I want to share that with you guys. Thought thought that was kind of interesting. So I'll be doing a Halloween podcast, and then I'm going to do comparisons. I do like comparisons. I'll do like a Halloween themed comparison on everybody, do some reactions on wins and losses. I'll definitely be talking. Oh, one thing I've actually forgot to mention on this versus all. So in this last week, Whitney's record would have been 5-4. So as much shit as you guys want to give me, she would have beat 5 teams. I mean, that includes me. So 4 other teams she would have beat with a negative quarterback record. So, as bad as that loss was, she would have beat 4 other teams. It's not like I was the only one she would have beat. So I feel like you can't shit on me too much. I'm just still salty about that, but it is what it is. But moving on, this trade. Jeff. I don't know why. It seems like you're throwing in the towel. I don't know why. You're 1-6. I've seen teams make the playoffs with a 6-8 record. I think ideal, you want to be at least 7-7 to have a decent playoff push. But there's only 4 teams that miss. So you got to look at 4 teams that you have to beat. You're only 1 away from me. And let's look at our here. I'm going to pull up our overall league. I'm just saying, don't throw in the towel. Don't throw in the towel quite yet. Because if you look at it, you're only 3 games behind 6th place. And so you start a little bit of a run, and you're not missing the playoffs. You're not missing the playoffs if you go on a run and you start winning and winning and winning. And I think for you, you've got a good team. I do think that you need an upgrade at quarterback. But if you look at quarterbacks, traditionally, there's not a huge difference between quarterback. We'll say like quarterback 5 and quarterback 10. There's not a huge point differential there. Typically, you're gonna. If you upgrade at quarterback, no one's willing to give up their top 5. No one's willing. Eric's not, I would imagine. He's not willing to give up Jalen Hurts. Luke is not willing to give up Josh Allen. Austin's not willing to give up Lamar Jackson. If Joe Burrow starts going off, I'm not willing to give up Joe Burrow. So besides those guys, you're not going to be upgrading too much by moving to another quarterback. I could be wrong. But statistically speaking, and looking at the numbers, the 5th, if you're looking at 5th overall compared to 10th or even 12th or even 15th, I don't feel like there's too much of a difference. You'll get a little bit more consistency, but there's not going to be too much of a difference at the end of the year in point differential. And so I don't know. It seems like you're frustrated with Jordan Love, but if you look at it, he's had 1 week where he's been under 15 points. Only one week. And let's compare that. Now, I haven't looked at this, so I could be eating my words here in just a minute here. But let's look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has had only 1 game under 15, but he's had a lot of 15-point games. On a per-game basis, I can almost guarantee you, just taking a skim at these, Jordan Love has more points than Trevor Lawrence. Now, I'm not fully convinced on Jordan Love myself, but overall, right now, I think Trevor Lawrence is not much better, if he even is better than Jordan Love. So I don't agree with this on that perspective. And you could have picked him up. Now, looking at the players, if you want to compare the players side by side, your argument is Bijan hasn't had 1 rushing touchdown, but he's had 2 recording touchdowns. Let's look at Alvin Kamara. He's had 1 rushing touchdown, no receiving touchdowns. Now, I do understand Kamara missed the first 3 games. So if you're looking at a per-game basis, if you look at Bijan Robinson, he's had 2 touchdowns. Right now, they are averaging the same. If not, I mean, if you want to really get down to the nitty gritty, I don't think you should really count week 7. That was kind of shitty, but I don't think you should count week 7. On a per game basis, Bijan is averaging more touchdowns, and his upside is so much higher, I believe, than Alvin Kamara. I mean, yes, Alvin Kamara's been hot the last three weeks, but I think you play to win the game, and I guess that's what just really irks me, is you play to win the game, and I feel like this is just kind of I'm giving up. Kind of, this is a Hail Mary, and I don't feel like you're at a Hail Mary. And you certainly don't Hail Mary to the best, the number 1 team in the league. You don't give him, you don't wrap that up and give it to him, because I just don't know. I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words, I guess. So I'm going to eat my sandwich and gather my thoughts here a little bit. Another thing to look at. I try not to look at this too early because a lot of things change. But if you're sitting here playing to win the game, you got to look at your Week 17 matchup. That's Tampa Bay. And I can almost guarantee you, Alvin Kamara is not going to produce huge numbers against Tampa Bay's killer running defense. Now, let's look at Bijan. Now, Austin's almost – I think if you have a 7-7 record, you're going to be making playoffs. Now, this almost guarantees Austin is making the playoffs. Now, look at that playoff schedule. Carolina, Indy, and Chicago. That guy is going to feast, and he's going to be more implemented into the offense. And I think we see this every year where second half rookies really start to produce and they start to really take off. And so that's where I think this is a huge mistake, in the fact that I think they're going to get Bijan more involved. I think they're going to rely on him a little bit more. And I think he's going to be a league winner. I really do. I really do think he can be a league winner. And now you've put him on the number 1 team who has Justin Jefferson, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs. He's got the choice of George Kittle versus Kyle Pitts. He's got Christian Kirk, who's been a good consistent. At this point, I guess that's probably why a lot of people are advocating for Jeff not to do this. You're almost handing Austin the win, just like you did when you gave him Saquon Barkley. Like, we've been through this already. It's just frustrating. I don't know. I play to win the game. And so, yes, I will advocate for you not to make the trade and for you to back out of the trade. And I don't feel like you guys should blame me. I don't think you guys should blame any of us, because we're here to win the game. And you're just, I feel like, stacking this guy's team and setting him up for even more success. I feel like he already has a good team, but I don't know. These are my thoughts. I don't know. You know, it is what it is. I am salty because I obviously want Bijan. I'm salty because now this makes Austin's team even better. And after his comments last night, I would love to just absolutely annihilate Austin. If I'm gonna call right here. If Austin wins, I don't want Austin. I don't want you to say one word. If you have another ring, if you get a championship, I don't want you texting the group chat. I want you to text Jeff every single time you think of your third ring. I don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. You know who wants to hear it? Jeff, because he keeps handing you some championships. And every time I hear about Austin's championship, I will send something to Jeff. I'll be like, hey, Jeff, remember that trade you made? And then we told you not to do it. And that was a Saquon Barkley. And then we told you again the next time you did it. I don't know. It's just that it's kind of like one of those fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't know. I mean, we could all be wrong. Bijan could be just like not involved at all. They do have Cordell Patterson. They do have Algier. But I think if you look at the talent and if they're wanting to win, they're going to put the ball in Bijan's hands. Absolutely. Every single time. So, like I said, we could be wrong. This could be something. Alvin Kamara could end up like vintage Alvin Kamara. I mean, the guy is, I don't even know how old he is. He's 28, I believe. Yeah, he's 28. I don't see a high ceiling for him, but 28 is usually the age that running backs start to fall off. We'll see if his body and his can keep up with the demand of the volume. Typically, especially with older players, as the season goes by, I feel like you already have an older player with high risk and Mostert. He's 31. I didn't even realize that. And he's a great talent, but he does have an injury past. So you've been benefiting from some of his production in terms of points, not in terms of wins, unfortunately, not yet. But you haven't been bad. Like over the last 3 weeks, you've been 4-5, 5-4, and 6-3 versus all. You've just had bad matchups. You just had unlucky matchups. And I don't know. I feel like you're giving up, and I don't agree with that, but it is what it is. If the trade goes through, whatever. But mark my words, Jeff, I will be talking to you, and I will be sending shit out to you if Austin wins. I would like a toilet bowl for Jeff if Austin wins. But, all right, enough of this. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll do another. I'm going to try to think of some better segments this next week. Like I said, be here for Halloween. I'm going to do some comparisons. I do like comparisons. I think they're fun. And boy, will I have one for Jeff. But, yeah, like I said, I would love for someone else to join me other than Austin. I'm getting tired of listening to him, especially if he's going to be talking shit on my team. I should have just removed him. No one likes to hear people talk shit about their team, even though we have nothing to do. We have nothing. We are not involved in any way on how this team produce, how our imaginary teams produce. Still, it's hard. At least for me, anyway. I don't know. Maybe I just care too much. I care. That's why I care. That's why I do this. Is I care. But, yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Someone else join me on this. I would love to talk some football. I don't throw you in. That is one thing I want to include. I don't just throw you in and start hammering out questions without you knowing where they're coming from. I do give you a heads up. That's what I did on the first one. Yesterday was completely different because it was live and we were not prepared. But on the first one, I did talk with Austin, like what I wanted to talk about. That way he had an idea. And that way he could kind of think of what he wanted to talk about before. So I don't just throw you in blindly. So please, someone else join me. Love to talk some football. Nate, Jeff, I'll even have you on here, interrogate you. No, I would just ask about it, ask your thoughts, and that's it. But leave it at that. I've talked enough about this trade. It is what it is, and we'll just move on. But yeah, someone join me, please. All right. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching.